adding fuel to your tank. That's what I feel like it does. Affirming the positives in your life and also to potential positives that can happen.
If you're going to choose to try affirmations, understand that change won't happen overnight. They don't work for everyone. And you really got to make them authentic to who you are and realistic to where you're at and what you're working towards.
It'll be okay. I don't know what the day will hold, but it'll be okay.
Welcome back to Wellness Wednesday. My name is Beth Gustin, licensed professional counselor here in Colorado, with my co-host, also in Colorado, Robin Ennis, a licensed clinical social worker. We thought today we would talk about affirmations, and there's a lot of material out there about the good and the bad and all the things affirmations, and so we thought it might be helpful to kind of break down what they are, how they can be helpful, maybe why they're seen as not so helpful, and maybe some steps on if you would like to try them yourself, how you could incorporate them into your daily routines.
I think that affirmations can be very positive and advantageous on a daily basis, both when you are going through a hard time, but then also too when you're not, right? Just adding fuel to your tank. That's what I feel like it does. Affirming the positives in your life and also to potential positives that can happen. Because in life, it can be very, anxiety provoking, or some things may cause us to feel really down and out. And so it's easier to focus on the negative than the positive. And that's where I feel affirmations come in to help pull us out of that, I like to say, rabbit hole. And it helps us get a bigger picture of our lives.
I agree. And affirmations, just for those who may not know, are statements that can help us overcome negative thought beliefs or a negative mindset. And they are statements typically beginning with the words I am. And they definitely can, I think, help us shift our perspective, help us remember what we are working towards and kind of who we'd like to be if we're addressing our identity and things like that. And they definitely can help pull us out of the rabbit hole, I think. The point of affirmations is they work on the concept of neuroplasticity and that our brains can be rewired. And so in theory, if you say positive statements, it can over time help rewire your brain so that you can start to believe what it is you're saying about yourself. And they originally came out of self-help movements and cognitive behavioral therapy.
When you start to believe something about yourself, it's the way that you carry yourself that causes other people to believe that about you. I believe that we teach other people how to treat us. Beth, when you were mentioning how affirmations start off with I am, it made me think of, and I think I mentioned this on this podcast, is one of my former employers. They help those with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And they teamed up with an art gallery in Colorado, and they did a billboard campaign in different areas across Denver and some surrounding cities too. And it had a person with a disability on the billboard. I was on one, and it said, I am. And then it had the person to say something affirming about themselves, to create a light that people with disabilities are much more than their diagnosis. And so mine was, I am capable. Because I think that sometimes when people see my white cane, they may think that I'm not capable to do certain things. And so when I feel like other people set those limitations on me, then I get frustrated, right? And then I like, oh, well, can I do this? And I start to question. So then I have to affirm my own self-thought by saying, yes, I can do this. I am capable. So affirmations help affirm our own positive beliefs about ourselves, but then also too, it shows other people to step outside of their own stereotypes about us too, I feel.
That's a good point. I really like that perspective.
Yeah.
I think also affirmations need to be paired with something else to be most effective. So for example, it's not enough to just say the words. That actually in some circles, can lead to what they call toxic positivity, where if we just think positive all the time, then, things are going to get better. And the challenge with that is then we tend to sometimes ignore negative emotions, which need to be honored as well. And so it can help to pair these affirmation statements with action steps. So an example, as opposed to I am successful, might be something like I am taking steps every day to be more successful. Or instead of I am confident, I am working towards feeling confident. Because if you don't believe it to some degree from the beginning, or don't believe you can get there, then affirmations can actually make us feel very frustrated if we're not achieving any progress that we can see.
Very true. And to add off to that, if if you don't show some type of growth, like in those statements you just said, Beth, I feel that some people, when they affirm themselves and don't add on to it, like, I will be more capable, or I will continue to be capable by whatever it may be. I think that some people get stuck in, okay, well, I can't feel frustrated or I can't feel a certain way. And so when I'm working with positive affirmations with my clients, it's good to have that level of growth, but then also to validate. I am frustrated. I am upset, but I will keep going because I know that I am capable. I know that I am taking steps in that way to enhance my skills in whatever area it may be. Because I think that, at least for myself, and I hear other clients saying this, okay, if I feel sad, then that means that I'm not grateful. I'm not grateful for all of the positives that I've been granted. And I myself fell into that trap. And it takes a while to overcome and recognize I am human. It's okay to feel anxious. It's okay to feel depressed or whatever it may be. It's just trying also to have that other perspective and see the light at the end of the tunnel. And you have to be your own cheerleader. One example, and I mention this a lot because he really is epitome of what I feel is a leader, is Christopher Reeves. He was very much a pioneer for spinal cord research, and he was Superman, right? He was very strong and very intellectual. One thing that stood out for me is when he was on an interview with Barbara Walters, and he was talking about what his life after his accident, when he was paralyzed from the neck down. And he said, you know what? I have those moments where I look and see somebody get up with great ease and go across the room and pick up something, and whether it be eating a piece of fruit or something like that. And I'm like, wow, I wish I could be able to do that. I wish I could give my children a hug. And so that really humanized me because he was so positive, but he said it's okay to have those moments. It's moving past those moments, not getting stuck in them. And that's where I feel like affirmations help. It causes us not to get stuck in those moments, but it's seeing both sides of it.
I agree with that. Another good point that you've made around them, it's like they can definitely lift us up, especially if we are kind of in this place of like, things aren't going to get better. No matter what I do is not working. This is my life, and kind of that despair, if you will. I think affirmations can definitely help us remember that we are a lot more than this moment in life. Mm-hmm. And we can become more because things change second by second, minute by minute. Our emotions shift and change, and affirmations, I think, can be good reminders of that. They also can help reduce stress and lower blood pressure. So I again find this helpful if you pair it with something. So like maybe you do the paired breathing technique where you inhale your affirmation and exhale, what you want to have less of. But that breathing and that affirmation can help get your stress levels back to a more manageable level and help you be able to kind of take that next step and see that next place you're trying to get towards and move towards it.
Yeah, I agree. I was nodding my head with you, Beth. Affirmations help us realize that it's one moment in time, and that moment, like you said, doesn't define us, and emotions change, minute to minute. And that's another thing that I remind my clients. That's why it's important to take it one day at a time, 1 minute at a time, whatever you need to, but knowing that it's temporary. This feeling is temporary. And so going off of that is, I suggest to my clients to breathe in for a count of 4 and breathe out for a count of 4. I heard this visualization is to visualize when you're breathing in your favorite color, and then when you're breathing out a color that you don't like. So you're getting rid of that toxic or that whatever you don't like inside of you. So that can be helpful too.
Exactly. Another way you can do it is breathing in for 4, hold it for 7, and breathe out for 8. And if you make your exhale longer than your inhale, it actually helps your body kind of calm down and your brain get clearer. And again, if you have any kind of asthma or lung challenges, modify these things to make them work for you. Mm-hmm. But any deep breathing is going to help, and you can pair it with a color. I like that. You can pair it with a mantra or phrase. There's lots of ways to do this. And I think if you're going to choose to try affirmations, understand that change won't happen overnight. They don't work for everyone. And you've really got to make them authentic to who you are and realistic to where you're at and what you're working towards. If I said, I'm the first chair trumpet player of the Colorado Symphony Orchestra, that's never going to happen because I haven't really played the trumpet in probably about 25 years. But if I were to make it something like, I am working towards auditioning for a local orchestra near me or something, or I am able to play for 10 minutes without my lips getting sore, that's a more reasonable goal that I can use affirmations around. You make it work for you, but the goal is to make them realistic as well. And then again, you do need to put some action steps towards it to help you become more successful with them. But you can say them in the morning. You could say them throughout the day, morning, noon, and night. You could say them before you go to bed. You could journal with them and write them down. There's a lot of ways to start working with affirmations if it's something you'd like to try to do.
Yep, I don't have anything to add to that, Beth. I think that was perfectly said. And when I think of affirmations, though, I'll just say this is one of the executive directors in my former employer that I mentioned earlier. She would start off her day by saying, "It'll be okay. I don't know what the day will hold, but it'll be okay." So that shows that you don't know what's going to happen. You can't impact it, but good or bad, at the end of it, you'll make it through, and you've made it through in past situations. So this one won't be different.
Exactly. And so as we are winding down this episode, we again encourage you to give us your feedback and send us your questions. You can email or call those in. And we always appreciate your feedback and your comments, and find that a lot of the topics that you bring to us make good topics for the podcast in general. So thank you for listening. Thank you for interacting. And until next time, take care and stay grounded.
Yes, until next time, take care.
Oh yeah, Wellness Wednesday with Beth and Robin. Gonna settle it down. Oh yeah, get your feet planted on the ground.
For more podcasts with the blindness perspective, check us out on the web at www.blindabilities.com. And be sure to subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you want to leave us some feedback, give us a call at 612-367-6093. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for listening, and until next time, bye-bye.
Wellness and taking care of ourselves. It's all about you and taking care of yourself. Oh yeah.
When we share
what we see through
each other's eyes, we can then begin to bridge the gap
between the limited expectations and the reality
of blind abilities.